From Tally to Cali,
It's time
to wake up.
Wake up!
Warchant.com is your ultimate Seminole sports source.
and this is Wake Up Warchant, presented by
Vitamin energy. The vitamins.
The energy.
Now here's Warchant.com's Aslan Hajavandi.
and Corey Clark.
Wake up! It's Wake Up Warchant presented by Vitamin Energy. Coming up on today's show, Mike Norvell says, I'm going to need a little bit more out of a lot of you after the latest practice. Baseball survives against Jacksonville. Loucks still busy in the portal. Wake Up Warchant presented by Vitamin Energy, vitaminenergy.com. Shake it and take it. Sip the juice, everybody. Go to vitaminenergy.com to place your order. Energy with benefits. 7 hours of energy. Nourishes the body. Also gives you that healthy gut. You don't want like 16 ounces, 24 ounces of carbonation in there. Why? Why? When you can take a shot of Vitamin Energy, not even 2 fluid ounces, 260 milligrams, all natural caffeine, vitamins and nutrients, all in that one little bottle. Shake it and take it, everybody. Vitamin Energy. Warchant.com, ultimate Seminole sports source, all out of gift cards, everybody. Sorry. But also thank you for taking advantage of the spring sale. It's still going on to a certain degree. It's still $1 a week for 52 weeks. We just don't have any $20 gift cards from Garden and Gold to give out any longer. But you were warned. But still, great deal. Hop aboard. Everything going on the Premium Recruiting Board, the Seminole Hoops Board, and obviously the columns from Irish O'Fell and Corey Clark in no particular order. Also a reminder, Renegade Express mailbag going down tomorrow. So hop into the Tribal Council thread, enter it, and get your shot at generating discussion sparked by Cummins. You can win a free Cummins generator or portable power station at the end of your drawing. You'll also be into a monthly drawing for a gift bag. We'll do that during the show as well tomorrow. Got that out of the way. What's up, Corey Clark? Welcome.
What's up, buddy? How are you doing?
I'm all right. I'm not too shabby. How about yourself, friend?
I can't complain. Thanks for asking. On with the show.
Well, how'd trivia go the other night?
Lost a tiebreaker. We would have finished in third, but we lost a tiebreaker. Also screwed up another question that I knew it was Toni Morrison. I just didn't say the name. For some reason, I didn't even verbalize it, and we went with something else, and it was Toni Morrison. So that was a bummer. But, yeah, finished tied for third. But then the tiebreaker question was, because Johnny Cash was one of the answers, was on what day, month, and year did Johnny Cash release the live album from Folsom Prison?
I don't know, 69, I don't know, July 14th, I don't know.
Well, I think we put June 14th, 1967. The other team put, like, June 10th, 1968. And it was January 5th, 1968, so they beat us by 1 day. We were both exactly 10 months off. They were like 211 days off. We were 212 days off. So we lost. There goes $20 because we missed it by a day. But always a good time there at Corner Pocket. And then we watched the right afterwards. And as we were playing, I was watching the baseball game because at Corner Pocket they have the baseball game on the TVs there, and watched the Noles hold on for a midweek win.
Don't want to bring down the mood of the show. We haven't really started yet. What's going on in Atlanta with that baseball team, man? You want to talk about it at all, or?
Well, we should. In all transparency, we're recording this before the Braves played their finale with the Dodgers on Wednesday night, and I'm assuming the Braves won 11-2. They're due, right? I know it's Bryce Elder versus Blake Snell, and the Dodgers are really good, and the Braves apparently are the worst team in professional baseball. But they're due for a big win, so I'm going to assume they won on Wednesday night. But yeah, it's really troubling, Aslan. Every time I watch a game where the Braves score 0-1 runs, and look, I've lived a charmed life as a professional baseball fan. Seen a couple World Series titles. Well, I saw one of them. I read about the other one because I wouldn't watch it because I was nervous. But they've been to the playoffs most of my adult life. It's been fun. But I think they cursed the franchise when they wouldn't sign Freddie Freeman. And bringing Matt Olson, he just ain't Freddie Freeman. I'm sick of it. I'm sick of his at-bats. I'm sick of Austin Riley's at-bats, and we're a week into the season. So, fun times. Acuna will come back at some point. Maybe that'll help. But this has been disastrous.
All right. Well, let's talk about football.
Hey, but I made some money because Daddy bets against the Braves every night. So they're making me some money.
How many games are you going to bet against Florida State this coming season?
Well, I don't like to probably a
Don't answer
so
that. Don't answer that.
I will answer it because in 2023 I bet against 2022 and 2023 I bet against them every game. Because again, I've explained this before, it's the emotional hedging. I'm like, okay, if Florida State loses, that sucks for me, it sucks for my family, it sucks for the business, but at least I'm making some money. And so in 2022 and 2023, I did that and lost a ton of money because they won all the time.
Yeah.
When they're a favorite, you got to bet a lot of money on the money line when they're a minus 300 favorite to try to make it worth your while. I'm getting into the weeds. This isn't a gambling show, but just know that I lost a ton of money for your sake, listener.
Yeah.
For your sake and for the sake of the program, I was willing to lose money to make sure Florida State won. In 2024, I made a lot of it back. But still, that wasn't the goal. I kept thinking they might turn it around.
I'm not saying in the midst of that 19-game winning streak, you couldn't, you didn't want to change anything up. You're like, all right.
Well, exactly right. I would, exactly right. And so yes, I did lose a lot of money, but for the sake of the program.
I don't have the soundbite queued up, but it might be in the hodgepodge if that's hit the airwaves yet. But yeah, I didn't get a lot out of Mike on Tuesday. We'll get to speak to him again later today on Thursday, and then we we'll talk to them on Saturday. They're going to be scrimmaging in on Saturday. Now, do we get to watch that one? Unsure, but if we don't, then we'll get to watch their finale on April 19th. So we'll keep you updated on that. But he talked about
April 19th is Waco and Oklahoma City.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay.
Nice. Just throwing that out there.
Happy Liberation Day, all that's celebrated.
Well,
moving along. So we didn't get, Tuesdays wasn't really a lot about, again, we're not at practice, we're not watching, so we don't know exactly what questions to ask. Shout out to Mike, though, for offering up things like Sam Singleton running hard, things of that nature. But a lot of it was like, all right, you've had a couple days now to look at the scrimmage, evaluate the scrimmage. What do you think about it? And he talked about, like, it was a showcase and opportunity for guys, and it's given them a good idea of where they're at with a lot of these guys are going to depend on. But then he talked about a lot of guys still need to push. They still need to step up. I appreciate the candor. Maybe I'm reading a little bit too much into it, but I feel like he was a little bit perturbed by maybe not everybody having the level of urgency, the edge possibly, some might say, coming out of that first scrimmage. Thoughts?
Yeah, I think that what I heard was that, number one, I think there's some guys that are banged up that aren't practicing, and he's talked about it a few times. Like, there's nothing that they think is
jeopardizing them for
the
season.
But there are guys that have been held out or will continue to be held out of the spring. Shaheem Brown was back for a little bit, apparently.
Also, real
Thursday,
quick, in the first video they gave us from practice, you can see Conrad Hussey in the background, like in pads on the field. So
okay. All right, see Huss. The fact that I think there's guys banged up, especially on the offensive line, and they're moving guys around, and other guys are sitting out or not playing as much. They're trying to see some of these newcomers, these freshmen, or even these older guys that maybe could take a step. And you did get the sense that there are a few. He always talks about it as an opportunity. There are a few of them that he thinks have taken advantage of the opportunity, but you could tell. There were more than a few that he didn't think had.
Yeah.
And he's still trying to cajole them, figure that out, get them to reach the level he thinks they can be at. That's what I took anyway, reading between the lines, is that because he's never going to come out and say, I mean, he went through the worst season of Florida State history, and at never one point did he say, well, that guy sucks, we suck, we all suck. Like, he didn't break down. He kept trying to build these players up, even when they were clearly not good. So he's never going to say he's never going to come out and just say, yeah, this kid's struggling, ever. But though in Norvell speak, I feel like he didn't seem real pleased with some of the guys that he expects to take a jump.
Yeah.
Now, specifically, don't know who that is. But you could tell, I thought, after Thursday, without naming names, because he's not the kind of coach that would do that, there are a few guys that have kind of caught his eye in a bad way that he's expecting more out of and is continually challenging them.
Again, I hate to do conjecture, but again, that's kind of what we're limited to doing right now. But I wonder with him offering up Sam Singleton running hard, I wonder if that was maybe kind of like the running back room. Maybe some of those guys aren't running as hard as he would like, but again, we don't really know. And then Osmane Cromaw's on the way, so maybe that should have people feeling a little bit better. We did speak to Roydell Williams. So we spoke to Jabril Rawls last week. Jabril Rawls gained weight, good stuff. Roydell Williams lost weight, good stuff. But his arms look jacked. Very, very jealous of his triceps. What'd you take away from Roydell? Seems like he's comfortable now being a leader, which a lot of these guys are saying it. So that's something to feel good about.
Sure. I like his personality a lot. I think he is a guy that can make a difference in that room, but it only matters if you're playing and playing well. It's great. He's a veteran. He's been at 2 schools that really value football and care about it. He has not had a very good college career, all things considered. But he's got a year left, I think. I don't know. I assume he's a senior.
Yeah, correct.
And you like the way he talks, again, but it's just talk. But I do think that he is a guy that we never got to see what he was. Like, he wasn't all that impressive when he did play last year, but who was? Maybe he's better than we think. Maybe his loss was a bigger deal than we think. I'm of the opinion that Jalen Lucas was probably a bigger loss, but I could be wrong. Roydell does some things. He had some nice plays in the limited touches he got in his first year at Florida State.
All I remember is that fumble against Memphis, personally.
Well, that's you. That's how you are. I think he scored a couple touchdowns, Aslan.
Did he?
And I think I might be misremembering.
I mean, they only scored like, what, 18 touchdowns last year?
19. Get
Sorry.
it right. And only 14 against Division I opponents.
Yeah, he did have 2. I'm sorry, my bad. I apologize, Roydell. Memphis remembers him. He had 1 against them and Georgia Tech.
Yeah, first game of the season, heard of it? He was dominating.
5 rushes, 6 yards against Memphis.
But, hey, big one. He had a big one there where it counted.
Tutty.
So I think I just don't know. I don't think Florida State fans are going to be all excited about, the prospect of Roydell Williams being the starting running back. But that's probably unfair because who could you judge behind that offensive line and that ridiculous offense last year of being any good? He is a body. And I don't say that negatively. He is a body that could end up being something halfway decent. He's not a superstar. But if he becomes someone that's halfway decent, that's out there half the time, that's showing the new kid the ropes, then, yeah, his presence in that running back room is a big deal. His presence on that offense is a big deal because I do think he's got that personality that kind of lift guys around him. He just seems like a genuine dude and somebody that cares about his teammates. So, I might be wrong. I've talked to him for probably 11 minutes of his life, but I feel like I got a handle that he's at least a good kid.
Gus Malzahn fan too, sounds like.
Yeah.
I mean,
yeah. He said he recruited him out of high school, right?
Yeah, he's from Hewtown, so I'm sure he was at Auburn at that point. But just talked about, I guess, like the energy that Gus is bringing, the details, and the fact that like the energy he brings every single day, like he's ready, and that's giving them juice on the offensive side of the ball. Which, again, like, for all the things that we talk about Gus and his scheme and his experience, just the fact that they now have this not only in name an offensive coordinator, but like a real guy who has like a overall vision, like wants to touch every aspect of that offense. Whereas like I don't know if I'm sure Alex Atkins got up in front of guys in the meeting room during an offensive meeting room, not just the offensive line, but everybody. But I'm sure there's some deference that was given to Mike Norvell in a lot of those situations. But it feels like with Gus, like it is his offense, man. Like his energy is going to definitely hit all tentacles of this offense. Whereas I don't know if Alex really either had the desire to do that or really had the runway to be able to do it, since it was Mike's by and large.
Well, and Alex owed his career to Mike Norvell. Where was Alex Atkins before Mike Norvell? Charlotte. Yeah, so come on, man. So he should be deferential to Mike Norvell. This is a completely and not that Alex Atkins can't go on to have a great career and would have gotten places on his own. I'm just saying when somebody plucks you from Charlotte to go coach at Florida State and win an ACC championship, you feel, you probably feel, deferential to him and appreciative. Gus Malzahn does not need Mike Norvell in any way, shape, or form. And I'll take it another level. I want Gus Malzahn controlling everything about this offense. Mike Norvell had a couple really impressive seasons at Memphis, right?
Yeah.
But whose track record is better running offenses in college football?
At this level, too, especially. Yeah, Gus.
Right, man. Like, Norvell's had a good offense in 2022, a good offense, a pretty good offense in 2023. Not great, and that's with an NFL quarterback and 2 NFL receivers and an NFL running back. Not a great, including like one of the best receivers in the country. So I'm not all that impressed. And then also, obviously 2024 really tarnishes his offensive reputation. So the point being, I kind of want Norvell just to kind of keep his mouth shut. I don't think Malzahn's going to tell him that, but I feel like there's a dynamic there where it's like, yeah, Mike, yeah, okay. You can give me input if you want. Remind me again how many touchdowns your team scored last year total against it. You had an offense that scored 14 touchdowns total. Okay, man, let me do what I'm doing. Go rally the troops. But let me work on this offense because I know what I'm doing, and my offense always works. I just feel like I am as somebody that wants Florida State to win. Even if I bet against them, gang, somebody that wants Florida State to win, I think it is they are in a much better place with Gus Malzahn running this offense than Mike Norvell. And I don't know how anybody could argue or think otherwise after that debacle of last season. Just a debacle. It was just this, I think Mike Norvell can be a very good head coach. He has proven he can be a good head coach. Can he sustain it? No idea. I am much more convinced that Gus Malzahn is an offensive stalwart than Mike Norvell is at this level.
All right, defensively, we spoke to Elijah Herring. He was a fun conversation.
Yeah, personality on him too, right?
Yeah, Undertaker fan. Apparently, Randy Orton and John Cena. Wrestler guy.
Well, Rey Mysterio too.
Yeah.
He said he goes back and forth with Randy Orton. I don't understand the deal with that. I don't know how you could like someone and not like someone.
Storylines.
I wonder if it goes like storyline, heel, not a heel or something. Yeah. But I would tell if I was there, I'd already bounced. But if I was there, I would have told him that the Undertaker is a Florida State fan. Because his wife went to Florida State.
No kidding.
And she was a professional wrestler for a while. We one of the people Stephanie works with is neighbors with the Undertaker, out in Austin, Texas, and said he's a very, very, very nice person, and that they've been Florida State fans for a while because the wife, who I don't know her name, but she was a famous wrestler too,
Michelle McCool.
There we go. Is a Florida State grad.
Yeah, from Palatka. Stand up, Palatka.
Yeah, there you go. So, hey, it's a small world. We need to get the Undertaker on the show, or her on the show, actually.
I'll try. So he was kind enough to walk us through in pretty good detail, I feel like, that aforementioned play from the scrimmage where the defense allowed a really big chunk play, but he chased it down, and then the following subsequent play, I think, led to a turnover. We'll talk, I guess, defensively, but I did think it was interesting how he mentioned that it came off of what he called like a crazy, wacky formation that the offense lined up in, and that you don't see, you only see it in season, is what he said, which is kind of crazy. Where it's like, we're sparring at practice to a certain degree. We're not throwing knockout punches all the time in practice, but apparently Gus Malzahn is throwing haymakers. He's throwing out really exotic gadget sort of plays and formation. So that tricked everybody up, and that's what allowed the big gain to happen. But he then chased it down. Following play was a turnover. And I'm just like, what does that say about you and just the way you play football? And he's like, I care. He's like, I care about getting off the field, giving the ball back to my team. I want to make big plays. He also talked about just how fortunate he feels to be welcomed here to his third different school, and everybody's made it really easy for him. So I don't know if you want to explore the fact that Gus is not holding anything back in practice, or the fact that they've got a guy that's new but is straining and pushing, and that's a really good example and something that they definitely need more of to get this thing fixed, because they got to work on the mentality as much as the scheme when it comes to the defense, it feels like.
Yeah, I don't know. I get the impression that Gus isn't he's not ramping it up too much. That might have been the only. I don't think he's throwing a bunch of crazy formations at him. I think a lot of it still is like fundamentally installing the offense, being physical, and all that stuff. It's not just a bunch of gadget plays. But on that one, clearly they were confused. Elijah Herring said the whole defense was confused. He was confused. They went quick, which I love to hear. I just love to hear how quick how quick they're going, how fast they're going. I just think that's a really smart thing to do when you're probably not going to have an overpowering offensive line. It's a equalizer. But But yeah, I think the real takeaway there is Elijah Herring, and as Norvell talked about, when Norvell was talking about it, he's like, that's what those are the plays that showcase who you are. That's what you want to showcase. Those kind of plays, those kind of effort plays. And you just hope the other players feed off it. But I like him, man. Again, I don't know how old he is. I'm guessing 22 or 23. He is a guy that's played a bunch of football, that's seen a lot of things. Him and Stephon Thompson, I just don't think you can overvalue what it's like to have those kind of guys in the room. I don't know if they're as good as Deloach and Bethune. Not that we're talking about, Marvin Jones and Derek Brooks with those two, but, those guys were older guys that had played a ton of football. It showed in 2023. So it helped that they had NFL defensive linemen in front of them, but it just that kind of maturity and experience was woefully missing a season ago. They had Blake Nicholson, who had barely played, Justin Cryer, who had barely played, Omar Graham, who had kind of played sparingly, DJ Lundy, who was in and out of play. Like, they didn't have any real experience. Is that it? Am I missing anybody? Cam Riley came, Sean Murphy. Like, none of those guys had done jack squat in college, really.
And Murphy wasn't right all year long. Murphy was hurt.
Right. And I don't think he was a good fit anyway. No. But he definitely wasn't right all year long. And I just think now you have these two guys that whether they start or not, they're going to play a ton. I think the way they talk about Omar Graham, now you're talking about Omar Graham with 1 year more under his belt. Again, I know that's not a guy that's going to get you fired up that Omar Graham is playing well because he's been around for so long, and I know a lot of people have already made up their minds on if Omar Graham is a good player or not. But again, he's been banged up a lot. He's been playing with other really inexperienced linebackers, and now he gets a chance to kind of take that leap. And if you have those three guys to go along with Nicholson and Cryer, well, now all of a sudden you at least got a linebacking crew that has got a lot of experience. And I think some real athleticism. But more importantly, experience. So that's the Herring moment of, like I talked about last week or earlier this week, when him making that play, chasing a kid down to the 10-yard line in a scrimmage in March, when that guy's played 35 games of college football, and what is one scrimmage in March? I mean, it's his first scrimmage at Florida State, and he's trying to prove a point. He's trying to make a name for himself here, and I think that was evident. And hopefully more people will take that cue.
Take your cues from Corey Clark. Your social time, your free time, recreational time, spend it over at the Corner Pocket Bar and Grill if you're in Tallahassee, Florida. CPTallybar.com, the website, 2475 Appalachia Parkway. That is the address. Daily lunch specials from 11 a.m. to 3 p.m. Monday through Friday. Only $8.99 comes with a side dish of your choice. Thursday, cheese steak sandwich. Or they'll even do it chicken if you want. Because that's what they do.
That's right. And you can make it as a wrap.
Or you can do that as well.
Comes with a wrap, yeah.
Comes with a side dish of your choice. Straight fries, curly fries, onion rings, potato salad, broccoli, side salad, tater tots, or freshly cooked potato chips.
Is there live music this weekend, Aslan?
There isn't. Looks like we're on a bit of a hiatus until May for some reason.
Okay, all right.
Or at least that's what the booking department had. Maybe something
understood.
Maybe something showed up in the meantime, but the jukebox
good
is
place
still
for
always there, though,
the
right?
jukebox always works, except I would say on Saturday during the Final Four, they'll have the bar. It's a sports bar after all, so they'll have the broadcast going for the two Final Four games, so you can come and root for Auburn. Is Auburn playing Florida?
Correct. Yeah.
Yeah, so come root for Auburn on Saturday because the Final Four will be on, and then the beer gets flowing. Well, the beer will always be flowing, but then the music gets going when the two Final Four games are over.
CPTallybar.com, that's the website. Corner Pocket Bar and Grill, 2475 Appalachia Parkway. We're back. It's Wake Up Warchant. It is presented by Vitamin Energy, vitaminenergy.com. Shake it and take it. As Corey mentioned at the top of the show, Florida State baseball successful on Tuesday night in getting off the schneid in their midweeks. I guess we could call they were in a bit of they weren't in a slump because they beat Florida the last week. Yep. But they held off Jacksonville 11-10. That was a gross game. Link said afterwards, at no point, even though they had a lead, maybe twice, other than the final, 6 outs, like it never felt like they were in control of that one. They spotted Jacksonville 5 runs in the first inning. Hudson Rowan started and did not start off well. Did not finish well either for him. But the concerns from the bullpen, I think, is probably the headline from this, Corey. But I'm just pleased as punch that this offense is just continuing to trend in the nice direction here. Max Williams finding power. I think he had 2 home runs on the night. James Hankerson hits another home run after his solid weekend in Notre Dame. I would like to talk about the offense. You want to focus on that, or do we really need to focus on the bullpen because it was woeful, other than Brady Louck coming in and stopping the bleeding for about 4 innings maybe?
Well, I think there's two. Look, man. What are they? 24-4. There's not a lot, and 2 of those losses are Jamie Arnold starts, which is just insanity. But so there's a lot to like about the team. You don't go 24-4 and have an awful bullpen and a mediocre offense, and the fielding isn't great. But when you're Florida State and you were really kind of a check swing away from being in a prime position to win the national championship a season ago, you're kind of judging on with a different bar. And what's happened these last 4 games, really 5 if you go back to the Tuesday night Florida game, because they gave up that lead late. Now, that was a whole bullpen game, though, so I think by and large you could say the bullpen pitched well. They gave up 3 hits. They just 2 of them came in that 9th inning when they gave up the lead. But when you go back to the 9th inning of that game, you're worried about, okay, how do you get the last 9 outs against Tennessee? How do you get the last 12 outs against whoever? Alabama. I don't know who's good over there.
Yeah, Alabama's actually good.
Georgia. Yeah, Georgia. Somebody like that. Like that, and you're worried because you don't have any answers right now. I thought you just don't have any answers. I thought Hudson Rowan, that he took a chance there trying to start that kid. It didn't work out. He just has trouble finding the strike zone in a game. I'm sure in practice he dials it in spots, but in a game, it's a different vibe. It's different energy. He just can't figure out a way to consistently throw strikes. And they walk 11 guys? 12?
Even 11.
Even Jacob Marlowe in the last inning, he
2
gets
outs.
the first 2 outs. Yeah. Nobody on with a 3-run lead. All of a sudden there's a runner on second, and it's 11-10 because he walked 2 guys in a row. So, yeah, that's troubling, and that's frustrating. I also think some of the pitch selection isn't great. Like, hey, man, when you don't throw a slider when you have a 3-run lead and it's a 3-2 count. If the kid hits it to the moon on a fastball, let him hit it to the moon. Do not walk him in that spot. They throw a lot of off-speed pitches on 3 and 2 in weird situations to me, but that's another conversation. But so that's a worry. That's a worry, and it's a worry going into this weekend. It's a worry moving forward. The bullpen, because I think the arms are there. They just haven't been able to piece together here recently a lot of good outings in a row, or one kid will have a really good outing, like Brady Louck on Tuesday.
3 innings.
Everybody else, 3 innings, 1 run. Everybody else struggled. In Notre Dame, there were a couple guys that had good outings. Everybody else struggled. Miami, Peyton Prescott was great. Some other guys struggled. Like they can't figure it all out where they all hit at the same time. But while they figure it out, they're winning games. And yeah, man, the offense is, Max Williams. It's like, I think it's right now. He's got 9 home runs in 11 games, something like that. I think he's now tied for the lead in the conference in home runs with 14. He's been hitting the ball hard all season. He's starting to lift the ball more, and now you're starting to remember, oh, yeah, this is the guy. This is the guy that was projected as a first-round draft pick, and he's hitting like it. Like, these aren't Dick Hauser home runs either. These aren't like fence scrapers that barely sneak over. I mean, that one he hit, both of them he hit. One to dead center, and then the one in the first one he hit down the line, I think he hit the tent. By the way, shout out, the tent's back up.
It's back.
It's back, baby.
Hell yeah.
Better than ever. Look, it also looks closer.
It does.
I don't know if it is or not, but it looks like it's a little closer somehow. But yeah, the tent's back up, so that's cool. A year later, they got it. $800,000, by the way, everyone.
Bargain.
Why would a tent cost that much? I'm not disputing it.
Hey,
nobody's.
Look where the Tampa Rays are playing their baseball games right now because their plastic ceiling roof couldn't be replaced.
Just think it would just go get some cloth from a carpet store.
Go to Joanne Fabrics. They're having a liquidation sale. They're going out of business.
Let's go. Let's get moving and get those kids twirling fire again. It's been 10 months. But, yeah, so Bailey had 3 more hits. Lodi's had 2 more hits. Hankerson hit a ball 400. So how about this, man? And I know I'm rambling. But Miles Bailey and Max Williams are 2 of the most prodigious power hitters in the country. I mean, their power is really, really impressive. And I feel like Hankerson has the 2 longest home runs this season for Florida State. He has 2, and they're in back-to-back games. The one he hit at Notre Dame, Link estimated was 500 feet.
Yeah.
I think it was measured, it was stat-casted or at
467
TrackMan
or something like that?
at 476.
Oh, 476.
Which is still a ribbon bomb.
Yeah.
And then the one on Tuesday, was estimated at like 460 something. I mean, those are bombs. And where did he come from? He had 5 at bats all year, and now all of a sudden he's just hitting the balls across the street. So that's something to keep an eye on down the road, because that is real power. Now you have, if that kid, we'll see, it's 2 games. There's a reason he didn't play until the 23rd or 4th game of the season, I think. But let's take advantage of it while you can, Link. But, the fact that you have those 3 guys that are 3 of the biggest power hitters apparently in the country, judging by exit velo. Yeah, he had a line out that when it was 113 off the bat, Hankerson. I mean, this is ridiculous. This is crazy.
Lasers.
These torpedo bats. It's nuts. The offense gives you hope, man. Delamelier had another big hit off the wall. Farreau, Mr. Consistent, we don't talk about him a lot, but he's had a really good season. Lodis has been an All-American. Max Williams is becoming an All-American with this power surge. Miles Bailey is a freshman All-American. There's a lot to like. I think they play defense pretty well. The catching position is a problem.
Big problem.
Defensively, it's a big problem. But overall, every college baseball team has big problems. You look at it in a vacuum, and you're like, well, they don't catch the ball real well. They strike out too much. The bullpen's struggling. It's like, yeah, they're 24-4. They're 24-4, and they have one of the best offenses in the country, it would appear. So that's good news.
Yeah, and the catching thing, I mean, I don't know if this is part of the problem or should make you feel good about a solution to the problem, but they have 3 guys, right? Like they got Jackson West, they've got Hunter Carnes, they got Nathan Smalia. One of those guys needs to figure it out. So, I mean, I like my odds there as opposed to kind of just being stuck with one option, and that's all we have to ride out with. So, they got Virginia Tech this weekend, I think, back in Hauser after this.
Get it together, Aslan. Wake Forest.
Apologize.
They got Wake Forest. Yeah, they got Wake Forest on Friday at 8 p.m. Friday 8 p.m. But the Marching Chiefs will be there.
Ah, that's right.
So that makes it exciting.
Hey, real quick shout out Ben Barrett. I might have gotten my shovel out and looked for a plot of land to lay him to rest after how he looked like at Notre Dame. But then he came on after Marlowe had walked 2 guys on with 2 outs in the bottom of the 9th inning, clinging onto a 1-run lead with the go-ahead run at the plate, and struck him out. So, and Link said it's crazy. He said that those situations, like that high leverage situation, actually kind of brings out the best in Ben, because even if you miss at 96, like I'll live with it, basically is what Link said. Whereas if you miss throwing 88, which, when you're coming in the 6th inning and it's a 2-run kind of game hanging in the balance, you might not have as much adrenaline pumping. So he's like, but we need to find a way to have that happen all the time, because we can't live in that kind of space where
it's a big out, man. That's a good hitter. That leadoff hitter for Jacksonville is the real deal. He's a good hitter, and he locked him up inside with 96 on the black. That was a really good. Maybe that's something to build on, man. I talk about that all the time. The confidence. You can't really have confidence in yourself until you've done it. Him coming in a 1-run game with the tying run on second. Now, is it a big game? Not really. You want to win the game. You don't want to blow a 3-run lead to Jacksonville when 2 outs, nobody on. But it's Jacksonville. Like, it's a midweek game. Yeah. What gets you to the top 8 national seed is what happens on the weekends. So it's not a big game in that sense, but it was a really big moment for Ben Barrett. And maybe that can be something that gets him going. That would be really good to see.
And hey, again,
by the way, I looked it up. Max Williams, the national leader. There's a kid. There's 3 guys tied with 15. Robbie Burnett from Georgia, not even the Ryland Zabrowski. So they have 15, and then Max Williams is tied with Zabrowski from Georgia with 14 home runs.
Got it, man. Good stuff.
So 14 home runs. Good for. Keep going, Max.
Yeah, for a guy that I thought was slumping a little bit. Not slumping, but just was being a little bit uneven, if you will. But didn't have any doubts that he would figure it out. So, again, we're recording this a little bit earlier than usual. Florida State, we don't have a final on the softball game against Florida, but this is the first time we've kind of reconvened and talked, Corey, since head coach for the softball team, Lonni Alameda, revealed her breast cancer diagnosis. And, obviously is such an outpouring of support for her. She's such an incredible person, coach, obviously, but person by and large. And then that's why there's so much support out there and really makes you feel good about everybody in her corner. And she's going to give it she's going to give it all she's got, and she's going to keep coaching, which is incredible.
Yeah.
Just any kind of message you want to send out to Lonni and the folks in the softball team. We know they're always listening on the bus and such.
Right. No, I don't. Just win, Lonni. No, of course I do. Lonni is one of the good people on this campus and in this city. And she's a friend of the show, but she is really a genuine person. And I don't really know her at all other than the professional relationship we've had for, I don't know however long she's been here, 15 years now. But everybody that talks about her, everybody that's worked with her or played for her, or just about everybody that I've talked to anyway, can't say enough great things about her. She's let my son come and watch them practice, just like, oh yeah, come down. You want to say hello? And this was when he's 16 now. That would be weird if she was talking to him like that in that tone. But when he was like 9 or 10, she'd be like, oh yeah, come sit in the front row and watch. She's just very accommodating. She's a great person for the community. Just a fundraiser. She's made that program one of the highlights on campus, honestly. So yes, everybody is with her. It's a good reminder. Not that this is what she did it for, but it's a good reminder for all women to this is a part of life, man. Like my wife's sister died at 33 from breast cancer, and she won't shut up about it. Just
come on,
I just made her laugh. I only said that because she was sitting right here, and she literally just laughed.
All right, we can all laugh.
That was funny. So it's really serious, and we're all rooting for her. I hope they caught it early. I hope her life isn't altered that much. I think she said she has at least a few more weeks or months of chemo that she's having to deal with, or radiation. I think it's chemo though, so it's a battle, man, and it's rough. But everybody is behind her. I don't know that she has any enemies, and she's just a really, really good person, so we are absolutely rooting for her.
BruntWorkwear.com, home of the best workwear out there in the industry, and not just the boots, all kinds of performance wear when you're on the job site. Check them out at BruntWorkwear.com. Use the promo code WAKEUP for $10 off of your order. And check out the best-selling Marin Work boot. That's what Corey be rocking. It checks every box. It's lightweight. It's comfortable. It's waterproof, slip and oil resistant, heat resistant, electrically hazard rated as well. Brunt believes in their products. We believe in it too, because Brunt is going to let you try it out there on the job site. That's right, risk-free. You don't have to just wear it around your house and keep them clean. You can wear them on the job site. If you're not satisfied, they'll give you a refund. Check out BruntWorkwear.com. Brunt's boots carry the names of real workers in the trades who test and inspire them. Use the promo code WAKEUP to save $10 off of your order. We're back. It's Wake Up Warchant. It's presented by Vitamin Energy. VitaminEnergy.com. Shake it and take it. The transfer portal be popping for the Noles, Corey, when it comes to basketball. Still a little bit a ways from the football part of it being back open. But Florida State on Wednesday acquired the commitment from Clemson transfer Chauncey Wiggins as Luke continues to kind of build this thing back. Daquan Davis entered the portal and quickly committed to Providence, although Providence ain't what they used to be. Malik Ewan has left since we last kind of talked, but your thoughts so far? A.J. Swinton said he's coming back. So with Swinton and Wiggins, in addition to LeJay Jones from St. Bonaventure, which... Hey, everybody, Adrian Wojnarowski left ESPN to go to St. Bonaventure to keep them running along, and Luke's like, give me that. What are your thoughts on another 72-hour whirlwind in the portal for Luke Loucks?
So I think right now they're at 4 confirmed players. They've got the kid from St. Bonaventure you just talked about, another kid that can shoot. That I think he was close to 40% three-pointer. He averaged 11.5, but there were a few games where he was in the 20s. He made a bunch of threes, so that's his thing. So that's encouraging. Then who was the first kid they got? Kobe McGee, right, from Drexel. So they got those two guys. They got the kid from Clemson, 6'10", Wiggins on Wednesday to go along with A.J. Swinton announcing his return. So they're at 4 right now. You need 8 more. But it's honestly not a bad start. I like some of these pieces. Like Wiggins is a guy that I think he averaged like 9 points and 3 rebounds. That's not something that's going to blow your socks off. He was on a pretty stacked team, although good grief the way they got. I mean, they made a game of it, but holy cow, that was embarrassing that first half in the tournament against it was that Will Wade, right? That was McNeese State. Yeah. But in that game, he hit a 3. He had 2 games. So he's a shooter now. He shot 36% from 3, which doesn't sound great.
36.5.
Doesn't sound great, but I feel like it would have led Florida State or been close to a leader. And right now he's the 3rd best on this 4-man team. So that tells you something about the level of shooting that's being brought in. And what I like about it is, he shot 36.5, but again, he had at least 2 games, and I think 3 games, where he made 4 threes in a game. I don't know. Again, I'm not taking shots. I don't know if Florida State had one guy all season that made 4 threes in a game. And this is what I would consider right now, and this is right now, early on, the 3rd option on your team. Had multiple games where he made 4 threes in a game. He had games where he shot 4 of 5, 4 of 6, 2 of 3. Like he wasn't a prolific shooter or a prolific scorer, but it's in his bag to do it. And you got to assume he's going to get better at it, because he improved from his sophomore year to his junior year by like 3 percentage points. If he can do that again, that's an if. Well, then you're talking about another guy that's around 40% from 3. He's also 6'10". Now, not a great rebounder. I think his season high was 8. Now, you got to consider that he played with some good rebounders, and he also didn't play a ton of minutes. There were some games where he only played 11. I think he averaged 22 or 23 minutes a game. But, yeah, I like that piece, man. I like that piece. I don't know what kind of defensive player he is, but I like that piece. I'm waiting on I hope that our backup, what is his name, Ayuk?
Oh, yeah, Ayuk.
Maluk?
Yeah. Oh, Maluk. Ayuk's my guy from the Niners. Maluk, yeah.
There you go. I hope he commits like A.J. Swinton did here soon. That's another really nice piece. He's not a three-point shooter, but he is a defensive savant almost. I think he'd be a really nice piece to Luke's first season. Hopefully he stays. We'll see if he does. And, yeah, the thing with Ewan is I kind of always thought he'd be leaving, but when we got to, like, late March, I mean, the portal had been open for 10 days, and he hadn't left yet. I'm like, all right, maybe there were some negotiations going, because I would have felt like if Luke told him that first week where he met everyone, because he did tell this to some guys, like, look, you're not in my plans. You probably should find somewhere else to play. But obviously he didn't say that with Ewan, because then what would have been the point of Ewan waiting this long? Get yourself in the portal, open up the negotiations. But I don't know how any of it works, so maybe that's not how it works. It's all going on behind the scenes anyway, so it's not like Daquan Davis didn't know he was going to Providence. He was in the portal for 7 minutes. So I think that I think that you like early on, you're cautiously optimistic about the experience he's bringing in, and guys that have not been the man all season necessarily, but the man in games. They've won games for teams at the Division I level. They've had big moments in big games at the Division I level. That's a good sign. And I know they got a couple other kids that were on campus this week too, including I think one from Jacksonville that averaged like 18 a game, and that's where Michael Fly's from. So maybe you bring him in, and all of a sudden you got your starting 5 already.
All right, man. It's all coming together. You don't have to really squint that hard. Feels good.
Yeah, and also I don't – like A.J. Swinton left me wanting sometimes this year, but he was a freshman that was getting spot minutes. He also had moments where he's an incredible athlete, but he also seems like a pretty decent shooter. I don't know what his numbers were on the year, but I feel like he's a pretty decent shooter or has the ability to be a decent shooter. And as you can tell, folks, I'm very invested if they can shoot the ball. Love Leonard Hamilton to death. He accomplished some really nice things at Florida State. I'm ready to see people shoot the ball again. I'm tired of 2 of 18 from 3. It's just it's soul sucking. How about a 10 of 22 and a half? Like let's just see what can it look like with guys that actually can shoot. Even if you don't win anymore than you did last year, at least you'll see the ball go through the basket a bit more, which is always fun. And the ladies that bring those 3 signs to the Civic Center and hang them up, make them have to go out to Home Goods and buy some more because they run out or something. Like, come on, man, put some pressure on some people to make some shots.
All right. Good stuff out of Corey, to a lesser degree
you too,
myself.
Aslan.
Tried. We're going to go cover practice later on in the day. We'll have a mailbag show for you folks on Friday, also generating discussion sparked by Cummins. Get involved. Tribal Council. We'll do our monthly gift bag giveaway as part of the show on Friday as well. Check out warchant.com. Check out the Jeff Cameron Show. $1 a week for 52 weeks. What are you waiting for? He's Corey. I'm Aslan. Thanks for listening to Wake Up Warchant, presented by Vitamin Energy.